Another example from my class. Did I publicize this, what are writing wrongs? Have you heard that term before? Oh, I love this. Okay, I started to notice certain patterns of mistakes in my kids' writing assignments. And so I asked them to create a separate section in their binders in which we would discuss only these recurring mistakes that we saw. And I asked them to come up with a title for this section of their binder, and Adam Campbell, wow, he really outdid me. His title for it was Writing Wrongs. Brilliant. So we have a section in their binder called Writing Wrongs. And when if I saw that as you're juxtaposing two adjectives that have no business here, I would include that in this section of the class.
And then one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every child that leaves VanDamme will know how to write.
Yes.
Is that right? Without having to worry about
Without having to worry about it.
Anything, our child will know how to write.
Absolutely. Now, we have varying levels of ability in writing. Writing, it's fascinating to me. It's sort of in the category of spelling. I can teach everyone how to structure an essay, and I can teach everyone to, do reasonably well on any sort of entrance exam they're ever going to have to do. But real expressiveness in writing, I have kids who are avid readers and love to read, and I think they're going to get it all instinctively and develop it inductively from their reading. No, just like spelling, it doesn't. Some kids do have a gift for it. I've had a couple of writers over the years who just seem to come to me gifted, and I can still help them, and I can give them guidance and help them improve their structure, but they just have the knack. So I won't promise that they're all going to be magnificent writers, but they'll all be competent writers, absolutely. An example of this sort, I have a very gifted writer in Mr. Lewis's homeroom who came to me with a sentence the other day, just to give you the sort of refinements I can offer them even when they're really good. And the sentence said, it ended with lead, it was meant to be a dramatic sentence, and it said, lead the team to victory anyway. And I was able, at first I just had that feeling, it doesn't have that punch. Why doesn't it have that punch? And I realized it's because the sentence needed to end with the word victory. You can't end the sentence with the word anyway, or it just sort of fizzles. So I got to make the point that sometimes the last word you choose has to be the center of your sentence, and that's what ends it with a punch and gives it an impact. So I can even help them at that level of subtlety when they're getting to the end of the program. Any other questions?
Well, I have an unrelated
Okay,
question.
unrelated question.
We've been here over a year now. And the beauty of your school is that you advance kids on their abilities as they go up. But I'm hearing more and more that parents are going outside and getting tutors, and that, in my mind, I have no idea what you guys do, but in some sense makes the kid move up, and in my mind, and I'm not saying what I've talked to any of the instructors or anything, but it seems like it's disrupting the class in the sense that half the class is one's half,
Well,
and I want to know what your thoughts on it.
Okay.
For me, it's a little disrupting that my child is, to me, he seems very smart, but I don't do outside tutoring.
Right.
I depend on you guys.
Right.
And I want him to be...
No, I appreciate that question. I like having the opportunity to speak to that, so let me do that. One thing I'll say is the school is always going to be a work in progress, and there are certain principles that we apply that get misinterpreted in ways that we couldn't anticipate, or misapplied in ways we didn't expect. And I think the example you're referring to is probably one of them. So do we advance kids according to their level of ability? yes and no, and the no is important. So we are watching the kids very closely, and when we see that a child needs to be advanced in some significant way, you will hear that from us. We're the ones with them every day. We know when that becomes the case. It doesn't mean you can't raise it with us as a question. Absolutely. Sometimes those questions will provoke us into reflection on the matter, and we can really think about it and say, well, that's okay. We need to revisit this, and we'll make a decision. But I think the issue when this has come up the most about is in math. And we do want the kids to advance at their own pace in math, but more importantly, we want the structure to be firm and solid. And so that's a continual balance that we as a school have to strike. The most important thing is it solid? If you ask me, do they graduate at pre-algebra with a totally solid foundation or pre-calculus, I would say pre-algebra, please, absolutely. So putting them on a fast-paced course without that structure is destructive. It's not positive. So especially in those early years, Singapore 1, 2, and 3, there is some flexibility. And speaking as a parent, my own daughter took the whole Singapore 2 year, and her teacher came to me and said, she's not complaining, but kid finishes it in 20 minutes and never makes a mistake. I mean, it's just always right. I don't think this is the proper level of challenge for her. And asked me, do you want to make the commitment to do the entire book 3 over the summer and have her come back and do level 4? And I did choose to do that, and that was a commitment. I think it was the right decision for us, though honestly this is what gave rise, if some of you remember, to my article about teaching long division, because I taught her long division over the summer and I did it all wrong. I mean, I did it the way I was taught in school. So I would have preferred that Mr. Steele taught her long division. He would have done a better job. But it worked out okay for her. But the point is, that paved the way for other people to do this. And in some cases it's worked out, and in some cases it's been misapplied. I'm not blaming parents here. I think it's just one of those things where we have to work out a consistent program about it. So I'll tell you what the program is now, and I'm going to make this public. If your child needs to be advanced in math, we are going to come to you. And it's not a decision we ever make over the course of a week or 2. There will always be points that things are going to seem slow for them. They're going to seem easy for them. And I want to come back. Somebody remind me, talk about easy. But if we see over the course of a year, this child is not up to the level of challenge that he needs, then we will come to you and say, are you willing to commit to doing the entire book over the summer and having a relationship with us, and we have to monitor and we have to test, and if someone is willing to do that on our recommendation, then we'll do it. So a couple of mistakes have been made about that. It's in part our fault because we didn't have a formal program about this, so there will be in the future.